Hello guys, and welcome to episode 16 of the How to Make an RPG in Unity tutorial series. Now, in today's episode, I promised that we would be doing dead screens and escape menus, so yeah, let's just get started with doing that. So the first thing that we're going to need to do when we're creating a start menu, and just a start menu for now, is we're going to have to create a new scene. So you can right click in your scene folder that we created in previous episodes, and we press create and then scene, and we can call it starting scene or starting menu. I'm going to call it starting menu. And now you can see over here that for my starting menu, I have basically nothing. So we're just going to delete the directional light, and you can see here when we press play, that's kind of dark. And there really isn't much, but we do have our scene under camera. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to create just a panel for now. So you can just right click on the hierarchy, or in the hierarchy, and press UI, and then press panel, and let's just make this black and full alpha. So now when we press play, you can see that we have ourselves a black screen. One thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to make this panel, it doesn't really cover the full screen for some reason. I'm just going to make this just really big. There we go. So now when we look in the game view, it's just a black screen now that we have. And what we're going to do now is we're going to right click and create like a text. So we can just create the text, and then always remember to use Text Mesh Pro, because Text Mesh Pro is generally superior to text. And you can come here and you can type in your game name. So in my instance, I'll just call this RPG tutorial. I believe this is one of our first instances with working with text. So a couple of things to note: when you're making text, you always want to do auto size. Well, depending on what you're trying to do, that is. So I'm just going to auto size it. I'm also going to center it and center it vertically as well. And now you can see here we have RPG tutorial as the title of our game. And now I believe most RPGs have like that, click to begin thing. So we're just gonna make that here. So we're just gonna have we're gonna rename this background, and we're gonna rename this the title, so everything's organized. And we can right click and or duplicate this, Control D, and drag this down here. And because we have auto size on, this text will scale with our rect size. And we can put down here, click anywhere to begin. Let me just make this slightly wider so it doesn't collapse. And I can see here, when we press play on our scene, you can see here it says click anywhere to begin. Now actually, if you want, you can go into like MS Paint or like Adobe Photoshop, and you can make yourself like a very cool game logo. But I'm not going to do that here. In this video, we're simply going to be making our title screen work, and our dead screen and our escape screen. So now that we have this, what we're going to do is we're going to create just a button here that's going to cover everything. You know what? Let's not make it a button. Let's make it just like an invisible panel. And this panel is going to be having 0 alpha, and this will be the click anywhere to begin screen. Click anywhere to begin. And basically 0 alpha, it has to have a raycast target, so keep all of that, and you'll see why we'll need this in a second. And now let's create the other UI. So what we can do is we can make like a little panel in the middle. So we can right click, create UI, and then panel. And let's just make this way smaller. We can also just use the center tool to just automatically center it, and then we can do this, do a little bit of this, scale it, and now you can see here, if we make this all white and like so, you can see here we have a panel in the middle, and basically what's going to happen is we're going to make this panel kind of just appear after you press click anywhere to begin. Now, you know what, let's actually make it on the left, or on the right, depending on how you want it. And we can make it kind of like slide in and push the title away. So I think that would look pretty cool. So we can basically just have this come in and then just push the title to the right and push the click anywhere to begin off the screen. So for now, let's just rename this to be the actual menu items, and we can actually just make this smaller. And now you can see here, I think that looks pretty decent. So I'm just going to center this as well vertically. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to animations for our background. We're just going to create one, and we're going to go put this into our animations, and we're going to create a new folder called UI anims. So this will be our general folder for our general user interface animations. And we're going to call this, let's call it menu screen slide, or just menu slide. And now what we can do is we can record, and we can basically just copy this component here and just move everything. So, and then just paste the component so that the animation always starts with everything like so. And we can copy the menu items component because that's all that's going to be moving, or that's one thing that's going to be moving. Move it there and then just paste it back. And same with the RPG tutorial title. So we copy the component, slide it around a lot, and then just paste it back, as well as the click anywhere to begin. So we can just copy the component, slide it anywhere, and then paste it. And now what we can do is, let's say, or actually no, I'm wrong. So for our menu items, it needs to be on default, like over here, because we shouldn't be able to see at the very start. So at like, let's say 1 second, or maybe at like 2 seconds, our menu item will slide in, and our click anywhere to begin will, whoops, my bad, and our click anywhere to begin text will slide out, as well as our RPG tutorial, which will slide out here. And now you can see it in action. So I think that's still quite a bit slow, so I'm just going to move it to 1 second. Now we can see it all in action. So yeah, I think that looks pretty good. You guys can edit the animation if you want. You don't even need an animation, to be honest. But this is how I'm going to do it. And now I'm just going to go into our animations folder for our UI anims. I'm going to tick off loop time so that's not going to loop, because we obviously don't want this animation to loop. And yeah, we might have some like background visuals later in development, like for our game. And over here, yeah, nothing much left. What we're going to be doing is, yeah, we're just going to fill this up this with buttons. So I'm going to turn down the alpha a bit more. And I'm going to right click and click UI and then create a Text Mesh Pro button. And this button will be for, play. Or let's make this the new game button. And we make this say new game. And over here, this will be the load button. So load, and drag it down. Call this load, and then we can just collapse these two and control duplicate them and drag them down. And I feel like we don't actually need a fourth button. We can actually just have 3 for now. We have a settings button later, but for now we're just gonna have quit game. And then over here you can also just type quit game. And now you can see here, obviously the coloring is horrible. It's just black and white. I don't recommend you keep this. I recommend you guys like edit the button visuals a little bit. But now if we press play, you can see that's pretty much how it looked like after we coded it. So great. Now what we're gonna want to do is we're gonna make this menu item default to be over here. And we're gonna create a new script and in another folder called menu scene, and we're just going to create a new C# script. So right click, create new C# script, and we're going to type menu manager. Alright, and basically once you've created the script, you just want to enter it, and we're going to delete these 2 functions for now. And what we're going to do is we're going to reference our animator. So we're just going to say public animator anim, and over here, we're just gonna say void on, public void on click begin, open close brackets, open close curly brackets. Whoops, just one set, not two. Why do we have two sets? But on click begin, what we're gonna do is we're gonna say anim dot enabled is equal to true. So we're just gonna play the animation when we click on begin, and we're gonna delete the game objects. So we're gonna make a reference to the game objects of click begin, and we're just gonna destroy it. So we're just gonna say destroy click begin. And now when we go into Unity, what's gonna happen is we're gonna create a new empty, and we're gonna call this menu manager, and I'm just gonna drag this in, and the animator is going to be attached to our background, and we can drag or click begin over here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to click begin and add a component, and we're gonna add a button, and we're just going to press that plus button over here, and we're just gonna drag the menu manager in there. So whoops, my bad. So I'm just gonna drag the menu manager in here, and I'm just gonna click on the no function menu manager, and then on click begin. And now when we press play, it should look a little something like this. Or my bad, I forgot to set the animation as not enabled on default. And now when we press play, what's gonna happen is nothing's gonna happen. When I press play, this is going to happen, and when I try to click again, nothing will happen. So yeah, what we're going to be doing next is we're just going to be making our new game, our buttons here load, and we're going to be pretty much done for our menu screen. For now, we're not going to have the load button because we don't have a saving system yet, and we're not going to be doing much with the quick game button because you can only really do that when you have built your game. But we're just going to code it in for now. So what we're going to do is we're going to create two new functions. We're going to say first public void on new game. We're going to say we're going to be using a new dependency called using Unity engine scene management. And we're going to come over here, and I believe in our player data we have already done this. Let me just check if we've already done this. So I know if I will have to explain how we're supposed to do this. So I believe okay, so we have done this. Okay, so you guys know the drill. We're just gonna do over here application.load level starting village. Pretty simple. And on public void on quit, this is not gonna work. Partly because we're in the editor and you can't do application.quit, but this is how you basically would close the game, force close the game. And yeah, so now I'll still explain this. Basically this line, it basically just routes you to the scene with the name that you input here. So pretty simple to understand. And application.quit is really self-explanatory, just close the application, I guess. And yeah, basically we're just gonna go into our game, and we're gonna go to new game. We're gonna press this plus button again, same drill, drag in the menu manager, click on no function, and we're just gonna click on new game. And for quit game, we're just gonna press here menu manager and on quit. And I'm just gonna save this because yesterday I was recording a video and I realized I didn't save, and I closed Unity, and the video was all recorded, it was all finished, and I closed Unity, and then it just didn't save for the FPS tutorial. So now I have to remake that tutorial series, which sucks. And yeah, so always remember to save, guys. We're just gonna click anywhere to begin, and on quick game nothing will happen because we're in the editor, but on new game we're gonna load into our scene. So yeah, that's cool. So now we're just completely done the starting menu, so we can just go to starting village now, and we can start working on our escape screen and our death screen. Okay, so now that we are back inside of our main screen, what we're going to be doing is we're just going to be creating a very simple death screen that will happen when we die, and just an escape screen for when we press the escape button. That's not going to really have anything yet, but we will, add stuff later on. So what we're going to do is we're just going to right click, and we're going to press create two panels. So the first panel will be the dead screen, and the second panel will be the escape screen. So we can rename this to escape screen. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go into our escape screen and make it black with no alpha, with full alpha, and that screen will also be black with full alpha. We're just going to edit the dead screen for now, so we can take this off. And for our dead screen, what we can do is we're going to right click and we can create some like red text, and we can say you died, and it can say over here death text, and basically this will just show up when you die. Pretty self-explanatory. And we can change this color to be red and put it up here. And now we can create a new text mesh pro button, and this will basically be the next or respawn button. And over here we can just make this button say respawn. So cool. That's good. So the next thing that we're gonna do is we can just basically just disable this, and then we can go over here and press this check mark to enable the escape screen. I guess really nothing will be here for now, because we're just gonna be making the UI for today. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go into our player data script. So over here, and where is our player data script? There we go. So instead of cur health is equal to 0, we're gonna copy this and we're gonna create a new function, and we're gonna say public void respawn, and we're gonna paste this here. And over here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to our UI manager and we're gonna create a public function. So we're gonna say public void escape screen, and we're gonna create a new function, and we're gonna say public void dead screen. So for our escape screen, what we're gonna say is we can say if input dot get key down key code dot escape, then we can call onto the escape screen function. So escape screen. But if we die, then we can go over here. I believe we reference a UI manager in our script, so we can say manager dot that screen, and that's good enough. So now in the UI manager, what we're going to do is we're going to reference two game objects. So game object 1 is going to be that screen, and game object 2 will be our escape screen. And over here we can just copy this, and for our that screen, we already contain, oh sorry, my bad, that screen obj. And now for over here for the that screen, what we're going to do is we're just going to say that screen, whoops, dot set active true, and also we're just going to turn off our player. So we can just literally just delete the player. So we can just create a public game object player, and we can just delete the player. So we can just say player dot destroy player. And now for escape screen, what we can do is if input dot get key code down key code dot escape, and then we can just copy this and boom. And we can literally just actually copy this code too, because we shouldn't be able to move while we are in escape, while we are in our escape screen. And we can put here in our tab, so we can't open the inventory when we press escape. So what we can say here is and inventory system, whoops, dot active self and not active self. So yeah, that's basically it. And instead of inventory system here, we're just gonna have our escape screen. So right here, and then boom, boom, boom. And we can just delete this because that's only relevant for our our inventory system. And now when we go back into Unity, everything should work. So we can press play. Oh, my bad, I forgot to drag in the variables. So for here, our dead screen will be right here. Our escape screen is here, and our player is here. So now we can press play, go into Unity, and if I press escape, you can see here I stop falling as well as a black screen appearing in front of me. And now when we press play, not only so, but we can't press tab when we're, okay, well apparently we can't. That is not good. We don't want that. So let's go into our code and we can see why we're having, oh, and not inventory.activeSelf. Sorry, my bad. It should be escape screen.activeSelf. And not only so, we also can't have our dead screen be triggered, or our inventory system triggering while we're dead, because that's not how dying works. So now we'll go back into Unity, and yeah, take a look at if this works. So we can press tab and press escape, but we can't press escape and press tab. So now we can go into Unity and we can give our player what is our health right now. So we can just say current health, or we can, you know what, let's spawn in an enemy. So we can go into our player and let's just drag in like 50 enemies. So we can go into our prefabs. I'm just gonna bring this guy in, and yeah, and they're just gonna slowly kill me, which is pretty fun. And now I'm dead, and I can press respawn and everything, and yeah. So what we can do is, instead of destroying, actually, because you see we got all these errors, what we can do is we can just disable the player script, or the rigid body first person script. So we can go into the script in the project, copy the namespace, go into our UI manager script, paste this namespace here, and instead of destroying the object, we're just going to reference our rigid body first person. So we can say private rigid body first person controller rigid, and on void start we can say rigid is equal to find object of type rigid body first person controller. And over here, down here, we can just, instead of destroying the player, we can just say rigid dot-enabled is equal to false. So yeah, also in our UI manager, we can make it so that we can't open our inventory, or sorry, our escape screen when we have our dead screen open. So we can come over here and we can create an and statement, not dead screen dot active self. So yeah. Oh, my bad. Not there. We have to wrap this in an entirely new if statement. And create the closing bracket. And now we can go back into Unity. And we have an error here. And that's because we didn't put the namespace here as well. So we need to also put the namespace here inside player data. But I swear we've done this a long time ago. No matter. So now we can go back into Unity and everything will finally work. Except we got more errors, of course we did. So I guess we just gotta put everything in namespace now. That sucks. So we can just do that. And we still have 50 errors. Let's go back. We still have another set of errors. I feel like this episode is just all debugging, or not debugging, but fixing errors instead of actually creating new things. Well, I guess, yeah, never mind. But yeah, anyways, now I have finished the last of it, and we have no more errors, and we can finally press play on our game and test it out. So you can see here, everything works. I'm just gonna drag in our skeletons, so we can go here to our prefabs, drag in our skeleton enemy. I'm just gonna drag in 4 so we die easier, and then it takes a second, but they'll all start attacking us. and we died. Cool. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode. Oh, one more thing. We do have to make it so that we can actually respawn. So we can go into our player data, our UI manager. That's a very important thing that we forgot. We can also copy this here and paste this here so we can actually move our cursor. And one thing we're going to do is we're going to make it so that when we press the respawn button, we can respawn. So we can go back into Unity and go to our dead screen and put the respawn, click on this press button and drag our player in, and we can click no function and click on player data and respawn. And now when we press play, we can go to our scene and we can drag in our enemies. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now you can see as we die. Yeah, I also feel like these guys are too buff. But yeah, now we press respawn and everything works, except the time scale is still 0. So that's a very simple fix. We're just gonna copy this here. We're gonna go to our player data and we're just gonna paste this in. So respawn, and we're just gonna paste this in front. So yeah, cool. I don't really need to test it because I know for sure it'll work. And in the next episode, we're gonna be I'm gonna be making a video explaining how the quest system works. Because I believe somebody DM'd me on Discord and he was like, hey, the quest system is kind of confusing. Can you explain to me? So in the next video, I will be explaining how the quest system works and how you can further make more quests. So yeah. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next episode. Have fun, and bye.